Nine pairs of eyes, staring. Blown out. Not by a stranger. Not in some distant war. No. By their father. Can you comprehend that? A man, flesh and blood, a provider, a protector, they thought. He took their lives. Methodically. One by one. He looked into their faces, the faces he helped create, and extinguished them. A father. Imagine the trust. The absolute, unquestioning trust of a child. Then, the betrayal. The cold, calculated end. Do you feel that? The weight of it? How could he? How could anyone? These weren't just murders. This was a systematic eradication. A man erasing his own lineage. A father, becoming a butcher. He built a world around them, a world of twisted faith, a world where he was God. They called him father. They called him husband. They called him leader. He called them his. And then, he ended them. Not in a fit of rage, no. This was planned. Decades of preparation. Decades of control. He held them captive, body and soul. He shaped their beliefs, their fears, their very existence. Then, he took it all away. Why? That's the question that lingers. The question that haunts. A question that tears at the very fabric of our understanding of humanity. He was their world, and he destroyed it. He was their father, and he became their executioner. This is the story of Marcus Wesson, a story that will make you question the very nature of evil. Stay to the end, and you will see. You will understand a darkness that few have ever dared to confront. Fresno. A city nestled in California's heartland. A place of sun-drenched streets and quiet neighborhoods. The year, 2004. A time when the internet was still finding its footing, when the world felt a little less connected, a little more isolated. 7159, West Hammond Avenue. A two-story house, beige siding, a patch of lawn. It looked like any other home. A place where children played, where families gathered. But appearances can be deceiving. Inside those walls, a different reality existed. A reality dictated by one man, Marcus Wesson. Born in Kansas, a place of wide-open spaces and deeply rooted traditions. He carried those traditions with him, twisted and distorted, when he moved west. He brought his family, his beliefs, his control. A wife, Betty. Daughters, Sarah, Elizabeth, and others. Children, their children. A sprawling family, bound by blood, bound by fear. They lived in that house, a world unto themselves. Marcus Wesson, the patriarch. He ruled with an iron fist. His word was law. His interpretations of scripture, unquestioned. He built a fortress of faith, a fortress of control. He was their leader, their provider, their God. He shaped their lives, their thoughts, their destinies. He was the center of their universe, and they revolved around him. They had no other world. They knew no other life. The early days, the years before the horror, they were a blur of routine. Religious studies, household chores, isolation. The outside world, a distant memory. The neighbors, they saw glimpses. A child peering from a window, a woman hurrying to the store. But they didn't see the truth. They didn't see the darkness that festered inside. They didn't see the control, the abuse, the fear. They saw a family. A strange family, perhaps. But a family nonetheless. And they looked away. The house at 7159, West Hammond Avenue. It stood silent, a two-story structure with beige siding and a neatly trimmed lawn. To the outside world, it appeared ordinary, a typical suburban home. But behind closed doors, a different reality unfolded. Neighbors recalled the Wessons as reclusive. They rarely saw the family, and whispers of strange religious practices circulated in the neighborhood. Some mentioned late-night gatherings, hushed voices, and an unsettling sense of isolation surrounding the property. Marcus Wesson, the patriarch, was rarely seen outside the home. He was a figure shrouded in mystery, a man who kept to himself and his family. His control over his family was absolute. They were his world, and he was theirs. Then, on March 12, 2004, the silence was shattered. Police cruisers descended upon the Wesson home, their flashing lights cutting through the quiet suburban street. A missing persons report had been filed. A family, gone without a trace. The officers approached the house, a sense of unease settling over them. The air was heavy, charged with an unspoken tension. Marcus Wesson answered the door, his demeanor calm, almost detached. He spoke of a family trip, a vacation in the mountains. But his words felt hollow, his explanations inconsistent. The officers noticed the subtle details, the small discrepancies in his story. His calm demeanor seemed out of place, a stark contrast to the gravity of the situation. They began their search, a methodical sweep of the property. The house's interior was sparsely furnished, the rooms filled with an eerie silence. Children's toys lay scattered, a haunting reminder of the lives that once filled the space. As the search progressed, the tension mounted. The officers' unease grew with each passing moment. They knew something was wrong, that a darkness lurked within those walls. The turning point came when they discovered a hidden room, a concealed space beneath the house. Inside, they found them. 9 bodies. The children of Marcus Wesson. Shot execution style, each with a single bullet to the eye. The horror of the scene was overwhelming, a gruesome tableau of familicide. The victims were not just his children, they were also the product of incestuous relationships, a web of abuse and control woven by Marcus Wesson over decades. The discovery sent shockwaves through the community and the nation. The idyllic facade of suburban life was shattered, revealing the darkness that could fester behind closed doors. The aftermath of the Wesson murders was a long and arduous process. Marcus Wesson was arrested, tried, and convicted of 9 counts of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to death, a sentence that brought a measure of justice but could never fully erase the horror of his crimes. The house at 7159 West Hammond Avenue was eventually demolished, a symbolic act of cleansing. But the memory of the Wesson family, the victims, and the unspeakable acts that occurred within those walls, remains a chilling reminder of the depths of human depravity. The hidden room. A space beneath the house, concealed, a tomb. The officers descended, their flashlights cutting through the darkness. And there they were. 9 bodies. His children. Lined up. Arranged. Shot. Each one. A single bullet. In the eye. The precision. The coldness. The calculated nature of the act. It was beyond comprehension. The crime scene photos, even heavily censored, told a story of unspeakable horror. The diagrams, the maps, the meticulous documentation of each victim's location. They painted a picture of a man who had planned this, who had executed his plan with chilling efficiency. Marcus Wesson. A father. A murderer. He had systematically eliminated his own family. The children he had fathered through incestuous relationships with his daughters and nieces. A web of abuse, a cycle of horror that had culminated in this final act of violence. The truth was horrifying. Beyond the physical evidence, the bodies, the bullets, lay the deeper, more disturbing truth of Marcus Wesson's control. He had created a cult-like environment within his own home. He had twisted the scriptures, manipulated the faith of his family, and instilled in them a fear that bound them to his will. He had created his own dogma, a twisted interpretation of the Bible, where he was the ultimate authority. He was their God, their prophet, their executioner. He used religious justification to control and manipulate. He made them believe that he was doing God's will. He made them believe that they were sinners. He made them believe that they were his. The emotional impact of the discovery was devastating. The investigators, seasoned professionals, were shaken to their core. The surviving family members, those who had managed to escape the clutches of Marcus Wesson, were left to grapple with the unimaginable. The interviews, the testimonies, they were filled with grief, with anger, with a profound sense of loss. Excerpts of these interviews, even now, carry the weight of that trauma. The raw emotion, the pain, it is palpable. The photos of the weapons used in the murders, they serve as a chilling reminder of the cold, calculated nature of the act. The firearms, the ammunition, the tools of death. They were not implements of passion, but instruments of a planned execution. The audio, the somber music that underscores this segment, it reflects the gravity of the crimes. It is a lament for the lost, a requiem for the innocent. It is a sound that echoes the silence of the victims, a silence that speaks volumes about the horror they endured. The scene, the evidence, the testimonies, they all converge to paint a picture of a man who had descended into the darkest depths of depravity. A man who had betrayed the trust of his family, who had violated the sanctity of life, who had committed an act of unspeakable evil. The arrest was swift. Marcus Wesson, taken into custody, his expression unchanged, a mask of impassivity. The trial, a spectacle of horror, unfolded in the Fresno County Courthouse. The prosecution laid out a meticulous case, presenting overwhelming evidence of Wesson's guilt. Crime scene photos, forensic reports, witness testimonies, they all painted a chilling portrait of a man consumed by darkness. They detailed the years of abuse, the systematic manipulation, the calculated nature of the murders. The court documents, the transcripts, they revealed the extent of Wesson's control, his twisted interpretations of Scripture, his delusional belief in his own righteousness. News reports from the time captured the public's fascination and revulsion. The details of the crime, the sheer brutality of the act, it shocked the nation. The sentencing, a moment of grim satisfaction, brought a measure of closure. Marcus Wesson was sentenced to death. A sentence met with a mix of relief and lingering horror. Even with the verdict, the questions remained. How could one man commit such atrocities? What drove him to such depths of depravity? The impact on the community was profound. Fresno, a city known for its quiet neighborhoods and family values, was shaken to its core. Local residents, community leaders, they spoke of a loss of innocence, a sense of vulnerability. Interviews with those who lived near the Wesson home revealed a lingering unease, a sense of having lived alongside a monster. The demolition of the Wesson home, a symbolic act, a cleansing of the site where such horror had unfolded. The memorial for the victims, a place of remembrance, a testament to the lives lost. The somber music that accompanies this segment, it reflects the weight of the tragedy, the enduring grief of those left behind. The audio from the court sentencing, the judge's words, they echo the gravity of the crimes, the finality of the verdict. To truly understand Marcus Wesson, we must delve into the dark recesses of his mind. Experts suggest he exhibited traits of narcissistic personality disorder, a condition characterized by a grandiose sense of self-importance, a need for admiration, and a lack of empathy. He possessed a deep-seated need for control, a desire to dominate those around him. His religious dogma served as a tool to manipulate and control his victims, to justify his actions. The graphics and charts that accompany this segment illustrate the psychology of cult leaders, the patterns of abuse, the dynamics of control. Psychologists and criminologists, experts in their fields, offer insights into Wesson's behavior, his motivations, his descent into darkness. Their analysis, their research, it sheds light on the complex interplay of factors that contributed to his crimes. Clips from interviews with these experts reveal their attempts to understand the unfathomable, to make sense of the senseless. Images of research papers and psychological profiles underscore the scientific approach to understanding the human mind, even in its darkest manifestations. They speak of the delusions of grandeur, the need for absolute control, the manipulation of faith. They explain the patterns of abuse, the gradual erosion of autonomy, the creation of a cult-like environment. They discuss the psychological impact on the victims, the trauma, the fear, the sense of helplessness. They analyze Wesson's behavior, his words, his actions, searching for clues, for explanations, for answers. But even with their expertise, some questions remain unanswered. Some darkness remains impenetrable. The human mind, a complex and mysterious entity. And the mind of Marcus Wesson, a labyrinth of darkness, a chilling reminder of the depths to which humanity can sink. Now, we turn to the meticulous dissection of the case. We begin with the crime scene reconstruction, a virtual walkthrough of the house at 7159, West Hammond Avenue. Every room, every hallway, every hidden space, meticulously recreated. The diagrams, the photographs, the forensic evidence, they all come together to paint a vivid picture of the scene. The placement of the bodies, the trajectory of the bullets, the minute details that reveal the chilling precision of the murders. We examine every piece of evidence. The firearms, the ammunition, the shell casings. The forensic reports, the ballistics analysis, the autopsy findings. The DNA evidence, the fingerprints, the trace materials. We scrutinize every detail, searching for clues, for insights, for a deeper understanding of the events that unfolded. We delve into the testimonies. The witness statements, the expert opinions, the court transcripts. We analyze the language, the tone, the inconsistencies. We listen to the court audio, the voices of the witnesses, the prosecutors, the defense attorneys. We hear the judge's pronouncements, the gravity of the proceedings, the weight of the evidence. We examine the police interviews, the interrogations, the confessions. We listen to the tone of voice, the subtle shifts in language, the moments of hesitation. We study the psychological profiles, the expert evaluations, the assessments of Marcus Wesson's mental state. We analyze his behavior, his motivations, his descent into darkness. We leave no stone unturned. No detail overlooked. No question unanswered. And then, we turn to the victims. Their lives, their stories, their stolen futures. We piece together their biographies, their hopes, their dreams. We examine their photographs, their childhood memories, their family relationships. We delve into their individual personalities, their strengths, their vulnerabilities. We explore the dynamics of the family, the patterns of abuse, the cycle of control. We examine the impact of Marcus Wesson's religious dogma, his manipulation of faith, his creation of a cult-like environment. We analyze the isolation, the fear, the sense of helplessness that permeated their lives. We listen to any available audio, any recorded memories, any fragments of their voices. We search for any glimpse into their inner worlds, any insight into their experiences. We strive to humanize them, to remember them not just as victims, but as individuals, as human beings with lives that were tragically cut short. We show every part of the investigation. The initial police response, the search of the property, the discovery of the bodies. The forensic analysis, the evidence collection, the crime scene reconstruction. The interviews with neighbors, the witness testimonies, the expert opinions. The interrogation of Marcus Wesson, his arrest, his trial. The court proceedings, the prosecution's case, the defense's arguments. The sentencing, the aftermath, the impact on the community. We include every available photograph, every document, every piece of visual evidence. We show the diagrams of the house, the maps of the neighborhood, the crime scene photos, heavily censored. We present the evidence in a clear, concise, and comprehensive manner, allowing viewers to follow the investigation step by step. We use visual aids, graphics, and animations to enhance understanding and engagement. We strive to create a complete and immersive experience, allowing viewers to see the case from every angle, to understand the complexities of the investigation, to grasp the full scope of the tragedy. The story of Marcus Wesson. A narrative etched in blood, a testament to the darkness that can consume a human soul. It is a stark reminder, a chilling revelation, that evil does not always wear a monstrous face. It can reside within the heart of a father, a husband, a leader. It lurks behind the facade of normalcy, hidden within the walls of an ordinary home. This story challenges our fundamental understanding of family, the sanctity of blood ties, the trust we place in those closest to us. It forces us to confront the uncomfortable truth that those we love can also be our greatest threats. It questions the very nature of faith, the potential for its distortion, the dangers of blind obedience. It reveals the depths of human depravity, the capacity for cruelty, the ability to inflict unimaginable pain. Can we ever truly understand the motivations of such a monster? Can we penetrate the darkness that drove him to such atrocities? Can we comprehend the twisted logic that justified his actions? What lessons can we learn from this tragedy? How can we prevent such horrors from recurring? How can we protect the vulnerable, identify the warning signs, intervene before it's too late? These are the questions that linger, the questions that haunt. These are the questions that demand answers. If you found this video disturbing, if you were moved by the gravity of the story, please share it. Spread awareness about the dangers of abuse, the importance of vigilance, the need to protect those who cannot protect themselves. Subscribe to this channel for more in-depth explorations of true crime, for investigations that delve into the complexities of human behavior, for stories that shed light on the darkest corners of society. Leave your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Engage in a dialogue. Share your insights. Offer your perspectives. Let us grapple with these difficult questions together. Let us honor the memory of the victims by seeking understanding, by striving for justice, by working to create a world where such tragedies are less likely to occur. Let us remember them. Let us learn from their story. Let us never forget.